Greetings from the fourth floor of Moore Hall. My name's McKenna, and I'm this semester's host for Past Deadline, a weekly news podcast bringing you CM Life's biggest headlines. For more than 100 years, CM Life has been the voice of the student body here at Central Michigan University. As another academic year begins, I'd like to introduce you to Michael Livingston, the editor-in-chief of Central Michigan Life's newsroom. Welcome, Michael, and thank you for being here with me today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right. So, Michael, what does the editor-in-chief do at CM Life?
Yeah, it's not too different from what the other editors do. I still oversee reporters, make sure stories are assigned and get complete and stuff like that. I think the extra layer is, one, just community outreach, making sure people know CM Life is here. We're willing to tell their stories. I try to meet with RSOs and interest groups and administrators, stuff like that, to make sure they're up to date on what we're doing and I'm up to date on what's happening here, and letting them know that they can use us as a platform. And number two, it's just kind of maintaining the overall vibe of the newsroom. I try to make sure, we're bringing in new talent, having a constant stream of new ideas, and making sure everyone here is happy, motivated, excited to do journalism. And now that we're starting to see COVID restrictions start to ease up, I'm really just trying to make CM Life a family again.
Awesome. And actually, besides you as the editor-in-chief, you mentioned other editors for CM Life. So who else holds leadership positions in the newsroom and our advertising staff?
Yeah, we should start with the ad side because they're the ones that make us money. So Ainsley Young and Russell Volek, they're the advertising managers, and they maintain a whole staff on their own with the help of Kathy Simon. She's our assistant director of student media. On the editorial side, there are tons of people that make this place amazing. Courtney Pedersen, Tess Ware are the ones who oversee the news reporters. Mitch Vosberg keeps our sports desk up and running. Aurora Ray, she keeps things looking beautiful with her team of photographers and videographers. Then we got Ben Ackley running our podcast productions. Jamie Ruertz running social media. Stephanie Chipman designing our print editions. And yeah, running a media organization takes a ton of people, but all of those people do fantastic jobs.
Nice. So CM Life is an editorial independent student media company. What does that exactly mean?
Well, in layman's terms, it just means nobody tells us what to do. Nobody in university administration, the journalism department, city government, controls what we publish to our website or print pieces. So we are student media. That being said, we operate on a very strict code of guidelines by the Society of Professional Journalists to always be truthful in our reporting, to always strive to properly contextualize issues and events. We have the same responsibility to inform the public as, say, the Detroit Free Press or the New York Times.
All right. And you are a journalism major, correct?
Yeah.
So why did you decide to study journalism?
To be honest, I don't have a straight answer. I went through tons of phases growing up. At one point, I wanted to be an artist. At another, I wanted to make video games. There's a point I just wanted to be a vagabond and live out of my car. I guess I settled on journalism because, every new story you get to work on is just, a new adventure. It's awesome.
So tell me about the first time that journalism connected with you. What was the story you were working on, and how did it affect your decision to pursue a career in journalism?
I don't think it was actually a story I wrote that made me connect with this career. When CM Life published its investigation into Phi Sigma Pi my freshman year, I saw that ripple effect it had far beyond our campus community, and it was a beautiful thing to watch. Change was actually happening because of a story that we put out. Melissa Frick did such an amazing job, and I think at that point, I decided I wanted to at least attempt to do something similar.
Okay. And what is it like being a student journalist, covering stuff like CMU, the Black Lives Matter movement, COVID-19, and some of the other big stories that we've seen in the last couple years?
That is the big question. It's a scary time, but it's also an exciting time. Look, this pandemic has changed the world forever. It's kind of opened our eyes to so many things, how unfair this country is designed, how technology sort of can take over and rule our everyday lives, how weak our institutions are in the face of a crisis. As journalists, we have so many more topics to examine, and that's true even right here at CMU. I mean, now more than ever, journalists have to pay special attention to providing the proper context in their stories. They need to get personal, and they need to be passionate about every little detail. So it's my hope that we as just student journalists can accomplish all that this year.
And going off on that a bit, student journalists sometimes do face a lot of public criticism, and some people project stereotypes about mainstream media journalists onto student journalists themselves. And students sometimes disagree with CM Life's editorial opinions or the guest columns it publishes. So, what do you both want people to know about you and the people who you've tried to hire to work for you this year?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with everything you just said. And actually, please go read my latest column about how journalists are actually being attacked on the job, physically assaulted. It's honestly crazy. We have been targeted as the source for like all public discourse, and people claim somehow our work is just the enemy of the people, and those people are just flat out wrong. There's no other way to say it. No matter how dangerous the job gets, our motives have always been the same, which is just report the facts. Editorial decisions like columns and letters and stuff, people first need to know that what's in that column is all someone's opinion. So, meaning if you somehow disagree with what they say, there's nothing stopping you from maybe submitting a rebuttal or to defend your own position. So if CM Life is to be this marketplace of ideas, like all papers strive to be, that's what we get taught in our journalism classes, then criticism is just part of that process. There's no other way to hide it.
So, what's it like doing journalism on CMU's campus? Have our administrators and faculty speak freely with us? And what happens when you publish something that is controversial?
Yeah, kind of what we're just talking about there. Doing journalism on this campus is really hard. We're constantly blocked by administration for one reason or another. Oftentimes, we're sure something is true, but we can't completely verify it at the last step, and it just like completely kills a story, and it's really disappointing. But the goal is always to just provide factual information. So, like I said, criticism is essential. The more we engage with our audiences, the best our stories will be.
All right. And what if a reader has a question about CM Life's content or a story idea they'd like to share? Who do they go to for that?
I mean, my email is always open. It's editor@cm-life.com. You can also send questions to our other email that the other editors open and answer. It's news@cm-life.com. Excuse me. And don't be afraid to DM us on all social media platforms. We got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, we got TikTok. You send us a message, we're likely to get back to you, especially by email.
And CM Life employs a lot of students. Besides the newsroom, which creates content for cmlife.com and the Thursday print edition of the newspaper, what are the other departments at CM Life that students can work in?
Of course, there's the super important ads team. I'm serious when I say if we didn't have them, this organization would not exist. But besides the news end of things, we're on a podcast right now, so we can shout that out. Our podcast studio has really taken off in the past few years. I actually host a music podcast called Soundcheck. We have shows about video games, pop culture, movies, sports, anything you can think of, really. And if whatever we don't have, you can come in here and start it yourself. So CM Life has a huge staff, and I think we're sitting at about 80 people right now. So, the more the merrier.
All right. And if students at CMU are interested in working for CM Life, what opportunities are available for them, and how can they join the staff?
Yeah, you're hitting the nail on the head there. CM Life is a learning lab, not just for journalism students. It's for anyone who's interested in putting their voice out there. In fact, I think some of the best people that have worked here come from, STEM fields, health or education or something like that. Some people that have specialization in something that we journalism students just don't have. And we want those kinds of people working with us in addition to the journalism students. So if you want to apply, you can download an application off our Help Wanted page on our website, or just come in the office, pick one up, and turn it into one of the editors here.
All right. And you've become familiar with other universities that are doing student media. What is CMU doing with student media that makes our program unique?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of a lot of student media around the state. Shout out to the state news, and so many other papers that are just doing a great job. But I want to shout out our alumni network because there's so many talented people that have worked here at CM Life and are now working at some of the best and well-known places in the world, not just newspapers either. I think I can also brag about our many awards, both for journalism and advertising. I think it also just comes down to the fact we all love what we do here. We want to see this place continue to grow. At the end of the day, we all just look after each other. It's hard to balance classes, off-campus jobs, or anything else with at the same time as doing great journalism. So CM Life over the past couple of years, especially with COVID, has kind of turned into this support system full of friendly people, and we just want anyone who wants to be part of this family to kind of come in.
Okay. In your opinion, then, what is the best reason that students should read CM Life?
While the university and other places try to keep us updated on what's going on, they can't compete with the reach we have and the restrictions that we don't have to put on ourselves. If you want to know what's going on in your community, whether it's figuring out how your tuition dollars are being spent, or just what fun events are going on this weekend, where you want to go eat, or where you want to take a friend, CM Life is the place to find all of that out. I mean, at the end of the day, we work for you, the students and the faculty and the CMU community members, the Mount Pleasant community members. CM Life is yours, so I mean, why wouldn't you read it,
Yeah. Thank you for speaking with us today, and on behalf of the CMU community, I wish you the best of luck.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, and you can follow the latest from CM Life by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and connecting with us on Instagram and Snapchat. Subscribe to CM Life's podcast channels on iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud. The print edition of CM Life is published every other Thursday and is distributed throughout campus and Mount Pleasant. Thank you for listening and supporting CMU's student media.